She's been coming into branches for the last few weeks taking money. She's not who she says she is. She's taken a lot of money from these people. She has an ID. It's clearly a fake ID.
All right. Now, who gave you this check?
It's right here.
Okay. And what did they give you the check for?
I'm a lawyer.
I guess the big question is, well, I have your driver's license in hand. What's your real name?
That is my name. I'll speak to my attorney.
All right. You can do that.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to place you under arrest.
On April 6, 2023, Delray Beach, Florida, a woman had been draining someone else's bank account for 3 months, over $50,000, with nothing but a fake ID. The real issue is not the theft. It's how the system failed to catch her until she walked right back in.
Is he in there?
How are you?
Is my partner in there?
He's with the girl.
Okay.
So I just want to give you a little bit of the history without her hearing me.
Okay.
She's been coming into branches for the last few weeks taking money. Yesterday, we got a call from back office. She's not who she says she is. They've already blocked the account. We've confirmed with the client that this is not her.
Okay.
She's taken a lot of money from these people. She has...
Ma'am, can I speak to you for a second?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I guess what's going on with your account?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
All right. Do you have your ID with you?
She has it.
She has it?
Yes.
All right. What's your name? Grace?
Yeah, she has all my information.
Okay. Here, let's go over to the counter.
I was going to use the restroom.
Well, give it a second, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Here, let's just go to the counter here. Could you see that we get her ID? I guess there's some confusion about who you are and what your accounts are.
There should be.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I go outside?
No.
Oh.
Here, have a seat right here for me. Here, have a seat. Have a seat. All right. Now, who gave you this check?
It's right here.
Okay. And what did they give you the check for?
I'm a lawyer, so.
Okay. All right. So it's for services?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you live in Coral Gables right now?
Yes, I have an Airbnb that I'm doing in Biscaya,
Okay.
so.
All right. So what does La Raza Enterprises do?
It's one of the my clients.
Okay. With like what kind of work do you what business are they in?
I'm not sure. It's my client. He wrote the check.
Okay. You say he's your client, but you don't know what business he's in?
No, I'm sorry.
Is it a person or an actual business?
No, it's a person.
Okay.
When officers questioned her about the check, Florida Statute 817.568 was already in play. That statute makes it a criminal offense to use another person's identifying information without consent to obtain property. And above $50,000, it becomes a first-degree felony. Evasive answers don't survive that threshold. A defense attorney could argue she was a contractor who didn't vet her client. What kills that argument is the fraudulent ID in her hand. Florida Statute 831.01 makes it a second-degree felony to forge any official identification document. The fake license she carried wasn't just a prop, it was an independent charge. It bore the real client's name, the real account, and a different woman's face. There is no version of the unknowing carrier argument that survives 3 months of use across multiple branches.
Oh.
Hey, sit with you for a second.
Come here and get a translator.
Hey,
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on.
I just told your partner. So she's been coming into 2 branches the last few weeks withdrawing money. We got an email from back office yesterday that this is not the client.
So this company, they said did not issue
This
her the check?
actual person does not, this is not her.
That's not her.
We got emails yesterday from back office that person has not came into a branch at all.
Right.
She lives in Coral Gables. That's where she does all her banking. She
Right.
does not come to Delray.
So she's not,
That's correct.
and we don't know who she is?
That's correct. I have a client who needs a translator in the lobby. I'm not sure what she needs. She's sitting down. Stay with her.
She came in yesterday, and immediately after I did the transaction, we received emails from the representative for the client, because they're actually kind of a high-level client.
Right.
And immediately...
This La Raza Enterprises?
No, it's the exact same name as her. And there's also another signer on the account,
Right.
so it's the 2 of them. Has nothing to do with any business, at least on their personal accounts, but
Right.
that's where she's transacting, is
Okay.
the personal account. The account number is
So
on
we're
the
saying
back.
this is a fake ID?
It's got to be, because that's not her. That is the address of the client, but that's not her. And she's also gone to the Boynton branch, and we looked at their transactions. They never come up here. They're like Coral Gables.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, they confirmed that it's not. She is not the client.
She is not the client, but,
She is
and,
not.
and there is a client named,
She is not her. Okay. She is not her.
oh, okay. I'm still confused. So how do they know that who she is?
They looked at their banking, their online banking, and saw transactions that were not authorized by the client. So they
Now
contacted
the client
us.
being,
No, the client is, I don't know where this check came from. She's depositing it. Yesterday, she deposited a check and made a withdrawal.
Right.
And so they saw on their online banking that, they saw in the online banking that they did not do, the clients
Right.
did not do the transactions. So they verified it's confirmed fraud. She is committing fraud. This
right,
woman
and
that's
she's trying to deposit this?
trying to deposit. Yesterday, she took cash back,
Okay.
but that is not her.
Okay,
They confirmed it last night. We've been emailing back and forth since like almost immediately after the transaction.
What brought you up here?
I have an Airbnb that I'm working on in Biscaya.
Oh, nice. Biscaya? It's far from here, isn't it?
Oh, it's right here on Breast, Atlanta.
Oh, not Biscaya. I was thinking Dayton, Biscaya. What do you drive? Ma'am? Ma'am?
A Cadillac.
A Cadillac? What color is it?
White.
let me just check this in the car on the computer. Computer, I'll be right back.
She drives a white Cadillac, she said.
All right. Cadillac out here. Yeah.
So I'm on the phone. This client is right now in a police station in Miami right now.
This,
The actual lady is in a police station right
this
now in
Grace
Miami.
Escalona?
Correct.
yeah, well, this is the actual woman.
Yeah, that's
Similar, but not, but not.
definitely not.
I think I forgot to advise them
Can
how
you speak to them because I have them on the phone, or does that not matter?
No, it'll be good to speak to them.
Okay, let me tell them.
They're in the police department?
She's in a police department
Right.
in Miami.
Have her speak to an officer to get a sworn statement.
Sworn statement.
Yeah, a sworn statement, if possible on video, if not, paper is good.
Perfect.
Okay? Alright, I think we figured this out. Alright, I'm required to warn you before you make these statements that you have the following constitutional rights. Okay? You have the right to remain silent and not answer any questions. Do you understand? You have the right to remain, any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to the presence and representation of a lawyer of your choice before you make any statements and during any questioning. You understand? Okay. All right. Now you said you're a lawyer, so I guess all those rights you understand. All right. I guess the big question is, while I have your driver's license in hand, what's your real name?
That is, I'll speak to my attorney.
All right. You can do that.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to place you under arrest.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you could just step down.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Turn it for you. That's all I was doing. Trying to be resist
I'm just
here.
trying to make it
Yeah, I'm looking at
comfortable for you.
Yeah.
If you do it like you're praying, it's more comfortable.
Let's grab this one. I should put these things down first. All right, I'm placing you under arrest for fraud.
Okay.
All right, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna collect some information. You wanna hang with her for a second while I get some of the supporting stuff? I guess you were here yesterday, you withdrew some money? Okay.
I'm just going to talk to my attorney.
All right. Sworn statement from her. Citibank said I have to subpoena everything. She would give me a sworn statement, video, copies of the documents. The only thing I got is the check today. And I spoke to the actual victim who said she doesn't know who this woman is, she doesn't know how she got her information, and she doesn't even know who this company is.
Okay.
But she was trying to deposit, and basically yesterday she deposited yesterday she deposited a $5,800 check from some company called Axio, and she withdrew $4,000 immediately after. So she stole $4,000, and today she was going to attempt to deposit that. We don't know how much she was going to withdraw.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you read Miranda?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. He said he read you Miranda already. Do you understand all that? Okay. Would you like to speak with me for a few minutes?
No, I just want to talk to my attorney.
Okay. And you said you did get her real name and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Under Illinois versus Gates, probable cause is assessed on the totality of circumstances. By the time officers moved to arrest, they had the bank's fraud alert, the manager's account of the repeated visits, and real-time phone confirmation from the actual account holder, who was at that moment inside a Miami police station. That is not a close call. Florida Statute 832.05 makes it a felony to deposit a check with knowledge it will not clear. The pattern was exact: deposit a fictitious check, withdraw cash before detection. Under Florida Statute 817.034, the Florida Communications Fraud Act, systematic, ongoing conduct exceeding $50,000 becomes a first-degree felony. This was a recurring, multi-branch, multi-month operation. Miranda versus Arizona requires officers to advise a suspect of the right to remain silent, the right to have an attorney present, and that any statement must be freely and voluntarily given before custodial interrogation. The officer delivered that cleanly. The follow-up noting she claimed to be a lawyer was not coercive. It was a professional observation. Under Berghuis versus Thompkins, the invocation of the right to counsel must be clear and unambiguous. When she said, "I'll speak to my attorney," questioning had to stop. It did. The one technical note mid-arrest, the officer asked about the previous day's transaction. Once counsel is invoked, even a casual question is legally risky. It was brief and didn't affect the outcome, but it is the one moment that keeps this from being a fully clean arrest. Under Davis versus United States, once counsel is invoked, all questioning must stop until an attorney is present. At the detention facility, the suspect invoked again. The detective complied. After 9 months of probation, she continued committing fraud, which triggered a federal investigation. Under Title 18, United States Code, Section 1344, federal bank fraud carries up to 30 years. Operating while on probation turned a state case into a federal prosecution. The officer gathered corroboration first, delivered Miranda cleanly, and stopped questioning the moment counsel was invoked. No force, verbal reassurance throughout. That is what a clean investigative arrest looks like. The suspect claimed to be a lawyer, then used that identity to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights. She did not resist. None of that changes what the footage shows: a 3-month fraud operation targeting a real victim, which she continued even on probation. The real account holder only discovered the fraud because she checked her online banking and saw transactions she did not make. If you are not monitoring your accounts and setting fraud alerts, you are the last person to know when someone is using your identity. Set them up. When you've been read your Miranda rights and police are asking questions, the only thing you need to say is, "I want to speak to my attorney." Under Berghuis versus Thompkins, that invocation must be clear and unambiguous. And once you make it, all questioning must stop. Say it once, stay quiet. 9 months of probation sounds manageable until you violate it. Every additional act of fraud under court supervision is a probation violation and an invitation for federal jurisdiction. Title 18, United States Code, Section 1344, carries up to 30 years. Probation is not an exit. It is a condition with consequences. That is the breakdown on this one. If there is an interaction or legal topic you want covered, drop it in the comments. We'll see you next time.